The original people of this area were the Potawatomi. Let's take a look today at Warren Dunes State Park.
We're going to the lake today. Yay!
I am in the southwest corner of Michigan in Berrien County at Warren Dunes State Park. The original inhabitants of this area were the Potawatomi Indians, and they continue to have a band today and pass on their living traditions, and one of them is sugar making. The Potawatomi calendar has 13 moons, and one of them is the sugar making moon, and that is found in April, and that is when the sap is flowing. But Warren Dunes has a number of sugar maple trees, and that is what drew them to this area. In the park were found areas that originally had wigwams, and wigwams are generally a warm weather hut, and this is something that would have been established about the time when sugar making was going on.
One of the reasons we chose to move to Niles is with easy access to Lake Michigan, and this was before the casino. It's definitely for tips for visiting. I would not come on a Saturday or a Sunday, and especially not during a holiday like the 4th or Memorial Day. It can be very packed. We have a lot of people that like to come through from Chicago now, and we believe it's casino traffic as they've become more aware of how beautiful our dunes are. Yeah, that's the one thing about sharing things like this with people. It's become quite populated, but it's still beautiful to come to. And yes, definitely come during the weekday for slower traffic. And I don't like to come right away. Like, if we like to watch the sunset, I would recommend too, to avoid a nasty sunburn, come after 2 or 3 o'clock, and you can still get a few hours of lake time in. Today is a high wind day, and definitely on the lower end of the lake you'll find that it is definitely windier than other parts, and of course they don't want people swimming because of the undertow. Very, very middle. That's not the way to go. It's the steepest incline. My tip is try on the side here and work your way up. It's a gentler slope. If you want to run down it, I do say, and you want to run real fast, it's definitely the spot to go. And on a good day you can see hang gliders.
Hang gliding was very popular in the 70s, but you do need a permit. You can still hang glide today, but you need a permit. During our hike, I love to identify plants, and frequently I'll take photos and research them. The bulk of the information I have about the plants that I find are from the Great Lakes Botanist, a Journal of North American Botany, a forest composition study, as well as a vascular plant study in 2006 and 2007 by Pamela Smith and Dennis Woodland. One of the things I find fascinating about Warren Dunes are its numerous unique microclimates that results from a number of things. Number one, the dunes and the height of the dunes. The elevation of the dunes, I believe, are 248 feet at the highest peak. I believe that's on Tower Hill. But as you can imagine, it creates all kinds of peaks and valleys that, number one, protected from wind, which we have strong winds that come across Lake Michigan from the west side that blow through the dunes, but they can act as both a barrier as well as a launching point for the sand to grow in heights. And other things affected the dunes, and they would be sand mining. As you can see, the large desert-like region just to the north of Tower Hill, that was the result of some sand mining. In fact, we'll come across some equipment left over from sand mining as we hike up to the back of the dune region. Lumber trade was very minimal in the impact of the dunes, as they still find some old growth forest, although there are signs of the lumber trade. Many of the ships would come up on to the shore and haul out lumber on railways that are found near the park. Today, human traffic due to the park system and the spread of the emerald ash borer through campfire wood had launched this vascular plant study as well as this forestry study by Pamela Smith and Dennis Woodland. Their study was not only important to categorize the dominance and frequency and value of plants, trees and plants within the dune area, but it was also important to see the impact of change, not only from the dunes and the microclimates established within the dunes and climate, but also the impact of the emerald ash borer and human traffic within the park. One of the things noted in a study in 1979 were that the number of trees average per quadrant was 15. The 2007 study revealed that it had dropped to 12 trees per quadrant. This is important to notice in determining any changes over the years and future studies and the impact of the emerald ash borer, as well as climate and as well as human traffic. Warren Dunes is the most popular state park in Michigan and attracts well over 1 million visitors per year. The 4th of July is one of the busiest days of the year, and human traffic plays a significant role in the impact of the microclimates within Warren Dunes and the plants and animals that exist there. It's pretty amazing to the slope of these. If you've ever tried to climb them, they're 45 degrees in some areas, and some are actually steeper than that. We're approaching the top of Tower Hill, the summit, and there's a few interesting things about the summit. It is 240 feet above lake level, and that's a pretty magnificent thing. You'll find that the trees there, you're not just looking at numerous trees, you're looking at often the branches of trees. On the west side of the dunes, you'll find species that are resilient to high winds and erosion, and these are trees that have learned to adapt to have their trunks buried. These are branches of the trees sticking out, and we're going to take a look at some of the species at the top of the dune. As we near the summit, I am standing beneath a Cinqua Pin Oak. They are very easy to identify. They have these serrated leaves. They're kind of narrow for an oak tree, almost more oval shaped, but serrated, and they're very firm and glossy.
And don't be a jerk. Pack out. Don't leave your trash on our dunes.
Not too far from the Cinqua Pin is an Ironwood tree. These trees are known to have extremely dense wood, and I am walking, of course this trunk is buried, so I'm walking amidst its branches just like the Cinqua Pin. The Potawatomi were the first to settle in this region, and they did it because of this tree I'm looking at, the sugar maple. They set up camps and made sugar, and it was an annual stopover for the season.
And on a less humid day, as my son pointed out, you can see Chicago. And yeah, I don't know if you can see this on video. It doesn't tend to amplify things very well, but we can see it on the skyline here. Pretty cool. Sears Tower, of course, it's renamed something else, which I can't remember. They keep changing the name every how many years.
At the very peak of the summit on Tower Hill, was the launch area for hang gliders. We're going to be descending on the northeast side of Tower Hill into the rest of the dunes. This is the area that was mined.
Horsetails. These have in the stock structure is silica. makes it an excellent pot scrubber. In fact, the Native Americans and pioneers used to use them to clean their pots. So we just descended a little bit off the main dune, and we're going eastward, kind of northeastward. And on hotter days, you would definitely want to bring a backpack, proper shoe wear. I mean, yes, most hiking you want to do in the bare feet, but occasionally this grass can be very pokey on the feet. Also, when it's hotter, this sand can burn your feet, and you might want to wait until it cools down. We did put our bug spray on for ticks, as that can be an issue out here. But this is what it looks like out here. I think we're gonna stay high on the dunes. And what do you keep looking at me? What do you got? Grass. We watched a monarch, as often is the case. You often find a lot of monarchs along the coastline. It's one of the migration paths. So that's another reason our beaches in Lake Michigan are significant, is that there are often monarch way stations. The types of trees back here often are cottonwood, pin oak, ash, black cherry, silver maples. We have a little that blank, because I have no idea what that is really. I see them all the time and I don't know their names. Okay.
This is significant to point out, of course, that these are very, very steep and high sand dunes, and you need to be in shape. Particularly if you get past the Tower Hill region, you're going to be going up and down many more slopes, and if your heart is having troubles or you have some kind of medical condition, cell phone reception isn't very good. You're going to need probably to go with a friend. That would be best, but be in shape and be prepared with water and other things to make you comfortable while you're hiking. We are traversing across the sand mine area, kind of in the northeast section of the park, and it tends to be one of the hottest areas because the wind is significantly blocked from the main area at the beach, so you don't get that cooling effect. So if it's a hot day, this is going to be a scorcher to both walk on, and you're going to need some cool water. There is no water on this stretch. You cannot get water at any point, and once you get to that very back hill, you're going to be pretty thirsty. Even on a cool day, you're going to be drinking a lot of water just because of these steep inclines and the number of them. You're going to find a few different species of milkweed at the park. It grows very well in the sand. It's very well adapted. Excuse the trash. One of our less in tune hiker with nature discarded a couple things of trash here. That's kind of infuriating. But This is one of the reasons this makes such an excellent way station for our monarchs on their migration paths. You'll find them all along the coastline fluttering along, but as we were hiking, we noticed a few monarchs, and they love to land on the plants and enjoy them. I'm not certain if this flower is a variety of campion or a sea rocket, and that's part of the fun of taking pictures and documenting plants. It's a challenge to identify each one correctly and have sufficient footage to do so. This is the red Ocr Dogwood, and I just love its red branches and beautiful little white berries with the black dots on the end, and the wonderful frilly type flowers. Who can't resist a run down the dune? And at the base, I'm finding more flowers. Here is a flowering spurge. I have never seen this before, so they don't have it in my neck of the woods, so it's fun to get out and see something different.
Oh, there's an interesting trail right here. It's kind of nice back here. We don't get the traffic of all the people like on the front of the dune, and you can see the little microclimates, these little like mini ecosystems. We're gonna follow this bird's track here. Let's follow the bird trail. I'm not sure if we're gonna make it to this dune. That's quite a bit further back. If you do hike out here, you'll definitely want to plan. Do not hike back here if there's any thunderstorm probability. Like it's very common, like off Chicago, it can take about 30 minutes or less for a storm to get across the lake. So you don't want to be on the dunes when there's a thunderstorm. You're at the highest peak, and you standing on the dune can be a lightning rod. It's not a place that you want to be during a thunderstorm. But it's very much worth, pick a cooler day, maybe even earlier in the morning. I don't know what time the gates open for people to come in here, but that is a possibility, to start hike earlier in the day, or, even like we're doing. And towards the evening here, our plan is, we came here about 4 o'clock, 4:30. The idea is to watch the sunset. Oh, look at all the berries. Aren't they cool? Just see different things that you normally don't see. Different types of plants. It's a very unique ecosystem. And it's a workout. So I love, why go to a beach and lay in the sand and just, cake, burn yourself like a cake? Yeah, it's comfortable, but you can do that back here too. And be in a more peaceful area. You'll find, let's see, we saw deer tracks, some kind of bird track. Looks like maybe turkey tracks. Or maybe it was a seagull. I don't know. We're on an elusive hunt for the cacti. I know there's cacti somewhere. I haven't discovered it just yet. But here's those little white plants. Starting to come upon them.
My son is picking up little bits of charcoal, and it's all over the sand here. And at first we thought maybe there was a forest fire, but we noticed that the trees in that area were not scorched, and we think it might have been from a fire on trees on the west end that just have been windblown and carried on into the area.
Looks like maybe, I don't know, an old truck, like the front of one? Maybe, I don't know what this is. It's got some gears on it. Maybe it's like, ooh, careful. It's kind of weak. It does look like, don't walk on it. It's definitely old. You get cut. It's got some wheels and gears, a crank.
Looks like a boat.
Boat? I have no idea. It's definitely very old and very rusty. I think, again, the plan of attack, rather than doing the steep thing, angle. What do you think? If you want. Oh, there's little tracks. See them? That's the back side of Warren Dune. And we are just about at the summit here. We just hiked up this little valley here. We actually crossed one of these trails down there and made it up here. And I noticed a lot of people are hiking from this ridge down over here, so I'm not sure where they're coming from, but we kind of hiked down the dune in the back and crossed over through the valley. I still have not found the elusive cacti. Let's see if we can get over the top here.
We're in the northeast corner of the park and reaching the summit. This is truly an astounding view. If you're ever afraid of heights, you just won't have that fear up here. You're way high above the tree line and you don't have a fear of falling. It's very comforting and serene and peaceful up here. Usually there's not a lot of hikers, but today I don't know if they just saw an old woman and a kid hiking in the back and thought they could do it themselves. Well, that might be the case. I've noticed a lot of people seeing us and they were able to take over our pace, and but hey, we like to take things slow and enjoy things.
Nice breeze. I think there might be a campground here. I smell like forest. It's pretty cool. Look at that, man. Isn't that cool? Come on up here. It's the highest point. The highest point. Oh yeah, look at you can see Chicago over there. Sorry. Had to sneak in. I know, being a bad mom. Bad mom.
Even though this hike is not very many miles, the number of inclines make it a pretty vigorous hike, and the hike back though is absolutely gorgeous. We decided to follow this gentle ridge back towards the north parking lot, which there is a dog area on that north end there. We noticed a few people did bring their dogs, and the sand cherries are absolutely gorgeous. They form along the edges of the top of this ridge, as well as of course our dune grass. And just before sunset, with the orange light reflecting, we are happy to be back in the parking lot, hitting up our taco truck. Tacos Hernandez has been here for 4 years, and they're a welcome end of the day hiking treat. Normally I drive out of the beach real quick and grab a drink or a bite before sunset, but because of the taco truck we decided not to. But instead I wanted to check out a couple of other things. We wanted to, of course, get a picture of the state park sign for the early part of the video, and we wanted to check out these parasol mushrooms. They were near the gate entrance, and we decided to take a little time to take a look at them and take a beautiful picture to remember them by. The day is, of course, the gorgeous sunsets over our lake. We're heading back to the beach, and there's a little tip. If you're at the far south beach, there are parking slots that are facing the beach. You get to the other ones, the other two parking lots, and they're horizontal to the beach. If there's not a lot of people, of course, you can do like we did and go ahead and park facing the beach, even if the lines are the other way. Nobody's gonna really be too upset about that. I'm approaching this amazing cottonwood tree, and I'm gonna take a closer look at it.
Look at this marvelous cottonwood tree. The erosion has exposed its roots and it refuses to let go. It's an amazing, amazing tree. Getting close to sunset now. If you're up higher in the dunes, you can actually see Chicago, but we've noticed that when you come back here, you cannot see. You can only see like a really skinny pole or something. But the local people often come out here to watch the sunset, and that's something when we lived in Niles, especially in the hotter weather, we would come out here, enjoy the cool air in the lake, watch the sunset. Accessibility, they do have a partial mat that rolls out to the beach. It does not go all the way to the water, but it would give you a nice spot that is pretty much near the parking area. It doesn't look like they have a designated handicapped parking area here. That might be an issue when the beach is definitely crowded.